What's up guys, and welcome back to Wall Street Millennial. On this channel, we cover everything related to stocks and investing. In today's video, we're going to take a look at some of the biggest trades from the Wallstreetbets forum over the past week, so we can learn from other traders' experiences. First off, we have the truly sad story of user Lucky Skills, who has not been having a good time in the market over the past few months. This Wallstreetbets user was all in on American Airlines calls, and managed to lose $500,000 since June. He saw that the stock was consolidating from March through May and thought that it would outperform over the summer. So he decided to invest his life savings in American Airlines calls, with strike prices ranging from $22 to $30, mostly expiring on August 20th.
Stop it. Get some help.
The stock peaked around $26 a share in June on optimism about the reopening. But over the past couple months, concerns about the Delta variant have caused sentiment to turn sharply negative, and the stock tanked 28% to close at $18.50 on August 20th. This led to a total loss on all of his calls expiring that day. The OP still has a leaves position expiring on January 21st of 2022, with a strike price of $30. There is still hope that this position could expire in the money and make back some of his losses. But as American Airlines has tanked, the position has lost 85% of its value of $25,000 on a mark-to-market basis. The $30 strike price is more than 60% out of the money, and the stock would have to rise to above pre-COVID levels for it to expire profitably. It appears that this was a true YOLO for the OP, as $500,000 that he invested was his entire life savings. He blames market makers for suppressing the price of the stock, making his calls expire worthless. The OP is 25 years old and has spent the last 7 years of his life building up his investment portfolio to $500,000. He planned on using the money to build an app and buy some rental properties to generate passive income. But when he saw what he thought was an opportunity with American Airlines calls, it was too good for him to pass up. He says he has little motivation left as he dropped out of school and has no job experience. The commenters are mostly sympathetic, with user Vortumnus saying that if he lives a frugal life and forgets about money, he can be just as happy as he would have been had his American Airlines YOLO worked out. And not all hope is lost for the OP. He's considering getting into the trucking business to build his net worth back up. Increased demand from e-commerce has caused demand to skyrocket over the past year. There's a shortage of drivers and companies are giving large pay increases. While it's a difficult job that often requires you to be on the road for many days at a time, truck drivers can make upwards of $100,000 per year. While the $500,000 loss is surely gut-wrenching, there's no need to give up, especially when you're only 25 years old. And the fact that he was able to accumulate a $500,000 fortune without a high-paying job means that he was either very lucky or at least has some investing acumen. We wish you luck on your future endeavors. Next off, we have user I Has an Email, who also invested $500,000 but had much better results. 8 months ago, he bought $500,000 worth of FAS, 3x Leveraged Daily Financial Bull ETF, and has more than doubled since then. FAS holds leveraged positions in financial companies, including Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and others. As you can see, the XLF Financials ETF has outperformed the S&P 500, and the FAS has amplified those gains tremendously. The OP now sits on a position worth $1.14 million, a truly life-changing amount of money. He posted his rationale for the investment when he initiated it in December. He says that banks will benefit from government stimulus, which helps reduce loan losses. Many of the banks recently resumed their share repurchase programs, which should help boost their stock prices. And thirdly, he believes that interest rates will rise sooner than people expect, which will help their net interest margins. He already owns shares of JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and bought FAS to get leverage exposure on top of this. Many in the comments section are impressed by his results and want to copy his trades in the future. Others are more skeptical, with user Crypto Persia pointing out that a rate hike would likely reduce the government's stimulus spending, as it would be more expensive for them to borrow money. Either way, the results have been impressive, and the OP thinks that FAS can continue to rise. His target for the position is $1.5 million, which implies a further 30% upside. Congratulations on the great trade. Next off, we have another sad story from user UnluckyAbroad4877, who lost the vast majority of his net worth on a poorly timed options YOLO. A few months ago, he bought 88 contracts of Alibaba calls with a strike price of $200 expiring on January 21, 2022. The total cost basis for the position was about $375,000. This was a YOLO for the OP and his family, as it represented 99% of his savings. Alibaba peaked at above $300 per share in October of 2020. But since then, the stock price has been cut in half over antitrust concerns and general negative sentiment around Chinese stocks after the Didi fiasco. His break-even price for the position is $243 per share, or roughly 50% above the current price. But his calls don't expire until January of 2022. If sentiment towards Chinese stocks improves dramatically between now and then, there's still a chance that he could end up in the green. Whether or not this can happen is anyone's guess. In the meantime, the OP is left with a chart that shows $300,000 of his life savings evaporated over the course of a few months. On the bright side, he still has $76,000 left. This is more than many people ever see in their lifetimes. We wish you luck on your future trades. Individual traders on Wallstreetbets aren't the only ones who were hurt from China's recent tech crackdown. Singapore's sovereign wealth fund, Temasek, also produced some massive loss porn over the past few months. As of June 30th, they owned almost $500 million worth of Didi, which had fallen almost 50% since then. They also own tens of millions of dollars worth of for-profit education companies, including New Oriental Education and Tao Education Group. These investments have lost almost all of their value as the government effectively banned their business models. Between all of these losses, the Singaporean people are a few $100 million poorer than they were a few months ago. But the good news for them is that this was not a YOLO. Their net portfolio value is $381 billion, so their losses of a few $100 million is not much more than a rounding error. Next off, we have user Drakeem514, who at the age of just 18 made and lost over $100,000 playing AMC calls. On June 10th, he bought 26 contracts of $40 strike calls expiring on June 18th. Fortunately, AMC closed that day close to $60, putting his calls well into the money and far above his break-even price of $47.50. This pushed his account balance above $140,000. This was likely a life-changing amount of money for the 18-year-old options trader, but it was not enough for him. He decided to roll over all the profits into more $40 strike calls expiring on September 17th. Unfortunately, AMC has fallen almost 40% since that time, putting his calls out of the money. There are only a few weeks left until expiry, but with AMC anything is possible. The value of his calls tanked and he ended up selling them at a loss. Had he continued to bag hold, he would be down even more by now. His account balance is down 88% from its highs and currently sits at a little over $17,000. But he's still up more than 70% from his initial starting capital of $10,000. Next off, we have some gain porn from user Repos39. This Wallstreetbets user turned $4,000 into $24,000 in just one day, with a fortunately timed FD. He owned $22.50 strike calls on Beauty Health Company, ticker symbol SKIN. The expiration date was August 20th. In the day leading up to expiry, SKIN stock had a few bad days of performance, which caused the calls to become almost worthless. But on August 20th, the stock closed at $21.57, marginally above his strike price. In fact, he actually sold the position before the close of that day, when SKIN stock was even higher. This allowed him to bag a 5,700%, or almost $20,000 gain in just a few hours. Congratulations on the great trade. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. What do you think about these trades? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoy this content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. As always, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.